Okay, hello everyone. Let me just say one thing before I say anything else. I know that a lot of people are going to see the title of this video, especially if you're with the church, and you're going to have a huge problem with it, and you're going to get all upset and offended, and you're going to say, how could he talk about this stuff? He's a jerk. He's blaspheming. But let me tell you something. I don't know if you guys have seen the line graphs of Gen Z religiousness, but let me give you a hint. So we have about 20 years before all of our churches become Chipotles if we don't rebrand and rebrand fast. So I'm in a very unique position as a social media parishioner to reach young people in a way that they have never been reached before. And we need to reinvent ourselves if we are going to last in this current culture. The end. So if you have a problem with anything that I say, you can make your own YouTube channel and you can tell everybody what a jerk I am and then I'm going to hell. But we'll see when we get up there who gets in and who doesn't. Okay. Sorry. Came in a little hot there, but I am on a tear right now because every time I post something, everybody has a huge problem with it, regardless of what I'm even saying. I don't even remember what this video is supposed to be about. Oh, okay. Yes. So today I want to talk about something that is probably the number one thing people ask me about. And if people don't ask me about it, I'm certain that they're thinking about it. And it is this question of chastity, right? Probably the number one thing people know about priests, if they're not Catholic, is they are not allowed to get married and they're not allowed to have sex, basically. And then, of course, within that, they're not allowed to pleasure themselves. And a lot of people I'm the butt of a lot of jokes because of this. Because every time I say that I'm a priest, or people even see the outfit, they say the first thing out of their mouth is always, "How many kids have you molested?" And to those people, I want to say, maybe you should try having one original thought in your entire life instead of just parroting what you saw on South Park in every single conversation. Maybe that's why you're unhappy. You're not better than everyone else just because you think you are. Just because you're a negative person who finds some way to be ironic and sarcastic about other people's way of life doesn't mean that your way of life is better or more enlightened. Wow, I'm sorry. I did not know that this morning I had all this rage. I think it's because, it's Palm Sunday, so a lot of times Easter for us is like the Super Bowl. So there's a lot of pressure to, everybody wants to get picked for Easter Sunday Mass. And, everybody wants to be 9:30. You don't want to be, 4:30 on a Saturday or anything like that. Because that's the runner-up category. Honorable mention. And I found out this morning that they scheduled me for not even 4:30 on Saturday. They scheduled me for 11 a.m. on Saturday. So it's just really upsetting that I can work my entire career. Yeah, I'll call it a career, sure. To do what, to spread the good word and to do what the best job I can possibly do. And I still get shafted no matter what I do. And I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know what to do better. My homilies kill it every time. You should see people's faces. They're cracking up. I've seen people crying laughing before. And I've seen people crying because of how moved they are by the beauty of what I'm saying. But because I don't fall in line and I don't do what everybody else wants me to do, then they don't pick me for the church is okay, sorry. I gotta be careful because social media is forever. Let me try to recenter. Okay, today I want to talk about chastity, specifically how that looks when you actually put it into practice. as a lifestyle. But I think that if I could summarize my view in one little blurb, it would be, I really don't think that when you get to heaven, God, or St. Peter, I guess, we don't really know, is going to look at he's going to look at the clipboard, and he's going to say, Dan, you did a really great job. You were a wonderful person. You made everybody laugh. You made everybody, you were there for people. You were a good guy. But says here that on March 14th, 2024 at 7:32 p.m., you whacked it, basically. So we're not letting you in. See you later. Bink. That's them flicking me into hell. I don't think that happens, honestly. Because it is, I think, more about the chastity concept is more about trying. You're trying to be better. The reason that we have to do it is because when you become a priest, it's a vocation, which means it's your calling, basically. So it's like if you've ever heard somebody say, my life's calling is to play the violin. That's the same thing. You sort of feel the voice call you. Excuse me. So the reason that you have to be chaste, which is a shorter version of the word chastity, is because you are supposed to give yourself body, mind, and soul over to God, because you are his servant, basically. And so God becomes your partner. God becomes I think it's a big misconception that sex in the Catholic Church is viewed as bad, or that it makes you lesser than by having it. That's completely the opposite. The way that it actually works is that sex is so great that it's special. It's kind of like we are all demisexual, which is a term that young people are saying to mean that they're not sexually attracted to somebody unless they have a connection with them, an emotional and a mental connection. That's exactly what Catholicism is like. Sorry, people keep walking on the sidewalk in front of the camera, and it's distracting me. I always talk about this all the time. I get in a flow state, and then if somebody interrupts me, then I've got to start all over again. And sometimes the video's 30 minutes, and then I have to start over again. Okay, sorry, I'm going to try not to do that this time. What was I talking about? Chastity, giving yourself mind, body, and soul. Okay, so basically, in the Bible, there's a quote that goes like this. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak, right? And that is basically all of this in a nutshell. So yeah, your flesh wants things that goes against your spirit's inclinations, or what your spirit should do. And people mess up. That's all part of being a human being. Original sin is when Eve ate the apple, or whatever it was. We don't know it was an apple. And for some reason that was bad. I don't know. So the Old Testament, there's a reason that we moved on from that, honestly. A lot of it does not make sense. And I do not mean that as a slight to anybody, any other faith communities. I'm just saying there's a reason why we moved on. Okay? Why was I talking about that? Chastity, mind, body, and soul. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So you're going to mess up sometimes, and that's okay. The key is that, another stereotype people have about Catholics is we self-flagellate, which means that we essentially beat ourselves up over things we feel guilty about, because guilt is very much ingrained in the Catholic lifestyle. And the reason for that is that, sometimes people tend to view God as a sort of a father figure, or a disappointed father. And for so long in the church's history, I'll say it, people from the church aren't going to like this either, but it's the truth. Our religion was used to do horrible things, and it was used to oppress people, and it was used to control people, and it was used to make people live the way that we wanted them to live, so that they would shut up and plant their corn and do whatever we wanted them to do. But now we're sort of realizing as the church evolves with modern society that that's not the way it has to be anymore. That's not the way it should be anymore. God should be, that's the point of the whole New Testament, is that God is partly human, and he's one of us, and he thus is imperfect, and he's not a jerk, he's not a vengeful monster like in the Old Testament. He wants to see us be the best version of ourselves. That's all, and so it's not, I know there's that old joke of, when your parents would say, I'm disappointed, I'm not upset, I'm just disappointed, then that would be even worse. But it's not even that. It's just kind of like when your friend, not that I would know what this is like, but when your friend says that they got back together with their ex who's really bad for them, and in your head, you're kind of like, oh man, I just wish that you would see how great you are and how you don't deserve this prick. But the only thing that you can say, because you want to be supportive, and ultimately they need to go on their own journey, is, you know what? If you're happy, I'm happy, and just be safe and know your worth and do whatever you want to do. So that's kind of the situation with that. I don't remember why I was talking about that either. Body, mind, and soul, chastity. Spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Why was I talking about that? New Testament? I guess that So let's switch gears here and take it more to my personal perspective. Okay, so I decided to become a priest after college because I went to art school and I wasn't going to be able to get a job. So I was like, I just need to find basically a glorified homeless shelter. But it ended up being really, really good because I sort of heard that calling in my own way. Long story short, basically, I was living life the way that a person would live before I went to the seminary school. So it was not like my whole life I have been, I sort of chose that lifestyle, sort of like the opposite of an incel. You could do all these things, but you're not going to. I think they call it a volcel, voluntary celibate. Priests are basically volcels. And after you have had not had sex for a long time, you kind of forget about it and you don't really care anymore, and of course you have urges, but it's just kind of like, I'm past that. I don't need to do that anymore. Not that I'm looking down on people who do that, but I don't know. I mean, who cares? You forget what it's like. It doesn't really matter. It's not that great, and so I've sort of just accepted that I have to say goodbye to that part of my life. And that's fine, because the rewards that I get from being in the community, the Catholic community of the Catholic Church, are much, 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 much better than I would get, just meeting some... Oh, man, I gotta be careful. I gotta be real careful. Basically, there's just many different ways you can slice the pie of life. And, maybe your slice is going to have more apples in it than somebody else's. That's not the way apple pie works. You get what I mean, right? And so, I think that it's just sort of this common flow of you're trying to be better, you're trying to do the right thing all the time, you're trying to do what you're supposed to do, and if you slip up, whatever. You tried. Everybody messes up sometimes. I have definitely, with regards to the title of this video, I have slipped up a lot. Like you haven't. Come on. Let's be real here. That's the whole thing I'm trying to do. The whole thing. I'm trying to be real. Because people can see through the bullshit. Sorry, but your allure of, mystique and all of that stuff might have worked in 800 BC when people still thought that, if you died of leprosy, and then it was because your dad gave somebody a blowjob. It doesn't work like that anymore. People have the internet. People have science. People have TikTok. I don't have TikTok anymore because I got banned from TikTok. But the point is, we have to reach people on their level. I don't have to keep saying that. I'm sorry, I've said that 100 million times. It's really, really important that I emphasize that, because I know that everybody's going to get pissed off at me for anything that I say. Everything that I say, people get pissed off at me. Okay. All right, I guess that's it. I don't know. I feel like I said everything that I want to say in this video, and if anybody has any more questions, you can ask me. But I hope that this gave you some level of insight into what being the reality of chastity as a priest.